Archaeologists in Sweden made a startling discovery. A baby, just months old, buried side by side with a wolf more than 8,000 years ago. Why would a hunter-gatherer society place a child with a wild predator? This is the story of the ancient bond between humans and wolves.
In 2014, at the Kvarlov site in southern Sweden, archaeologists uncovered one of the most extraordinary burials of the Mesolithic era. The grave contained a baby, just 6 to 9 months old, lying beside a wolf. Carbon dating places the burial at roughly 8,000 years ago, during the early Holocene, when the first post-Ice Age forests were expanding across Scandinavia. This was a world dominated by hunter-gatherers, where survival was harsh and life expectancy was short. Communities lived in temporary settlements along rivers and lakes, relying on fishing, hunting, and foraging. Burial practices varied, but this discovery was unlike any other. Infants were rarely buried with animals, especially predators. The gravechinous body was placed in a flexed position, the wolf lying facing the infant. The wolf's remains showed no signs of violence. It had likely been killed for the burial. The placement suggests intentionality, a symbolic or ritual act rather than random coincidence. Initial analysis by researchers from Stockholm University and the University of Copenhagen revealed that the wolf was not a domesticated dog, but a wild wolf, Canis lupus, genetically distinct from the earliest domestic dogs in Europe. This distinction raises a profound question. Why bury a human infant with a wild predator? To understand this, we must consider the complex relationship between humans and wolves in prehistoric Europe. Wolves were both feared and revered. They were hunters, scavengers, and occasional threats to human settlements, but they also shared ecological niches with humans, and over millennia, their interactions shaped early human culture and myth. This burial is part of a growing pattern of ritual behavior in Mesolithic Scandinavia, where symbolic burials, often of children or special individuals, express social beliefs, spiritual concepts, or notions of identity. But the combination of infant and wolf remains is unique, marking this site as a remarkable window into human-animal relationships in the Mesolithic. To understand the significance of the Kvarlov burial, archaeologists compared it to other Mesolithic burials across Scandinavia. Infant burials were rare, and when they occurred, they were typically simple interments without grave goods or animal companions. The presence of a wolf immediately marks this burial as exceptional, suggesting a ritual or symbolic meaning beyond everyday funerary practice. Researchers note that wolves in the Mesolithic were both predators and spiritual symbols. Cave art and engravings across Europe often depict wolves, highlighting their role in the human imagination as guardians, hunters, and liminal creatures, bridging life and death. Wolves could represent danger, power, or a spiritual guide, and in this case, they may have served as a protector for the infant in the afterlife. Further analysis of the remains revealed intriguing details. The wolf's body shows no signs of disease or injury. Isotope analysis indicates it lived a natural life, hunting and roaming freely before being killed for the burial. This implies the animal's death was intentional and ceremonial, not opportunistic. Anthropologist Mats Larsson, one of the lead researchers, suggests that the placement of the wolf may reflect a proto-domestication experiment. Wolves in close contact with humans gradually adopted socially, forming early bonds that eventually led to the domestication of dogs. Yet in this burial, the wolf remains wild, highlighting a transitional moment. Humans were experimenting with relationships with large carnivores, testing trust, protection, and symbolic connection. The child's fragile age also points to high infant mortality in Mesolithic communities. By linking the child with a wolf, the community may have been expressing a ritual protection, invoking the wolf's strength to guide the infant's spirit or to ward off malevolent forces. This aligns with a broader European pattern of ritualized child burials, where symbolic acts were performed to safeguard vulnerable members of the group. Interestingly, similar burials elsewhere occasionally show connections to other animals, such as red foxes or large birds, but the wolf is unique in size, power, and cultural resonance. It may have been chosen deliberately as a liminal being, one that moves between worlds, alive and wild in life, yet powerful in death. This burial also contributes to a growing understanding of human-animal relationships in prehistory. It demonstrates that Mesolithic humans did not view animals merely as food sources or tools, but as partners in life, death, and spiritual practice. Wolves in particular occupied a dual role: feared yet revered, dangerous yet protective, a mirror to the complex human psyche. The Kvarlov burial may also represent an early step in the long process of wolf domestication. Archaeologists have long debated when and how humans first domesticated wolves into dogs. Evidence suggests domestication occurred independently in multiple regions, possibly beginning as early as 15,000 years ago, but burials like this reveal how humans experimented with complex interactions between infants, adults, and wild animals. Unlike ordinary dog burials, the wolf here remains fully wild. Yet its proximity to the infant hints at a symbolic partnership. Humans acknowledging the wolf's power while seeking to harness its protective qualities. It may represent a conscious cultural act, attempting to bridge the divide between human vulnerability
Comparisons
and
with
wild
other
strength.
Mesolithic burials provide insight. In sites such as Vainiiki in Latvia or Vedbeck in Denmark, children are buried with grave goods or small animals, but never with large predators. This unique association in Kvarlov suggests a localized cultural practice, possibly rooted in shamanistic belief systems, where animals guided spirits in the afterlife or acted as guardians. The burial also speaks to infant social value in mortality perception. While infants were frequently overlooked in everyday life due to high mortality rates, extraordinary burials indicate ritual recognition of the child's spiritual importance. The wolf's inclusion elevates the infant from mere mortality statistics to a participant in cosmology and human-animal kinship. Analysis of the grave stratigraphy and surrounding artifacts reveals careful preparation. The wolf's body and the child's body were placed in a shallow pit lined with reeds. No signs of scavenging were present, and pollen analysis suggests springtime burial, possibly aligned with seasonal rituals. These details indicate deliberate, symbolic action rather than chance. This discovery challenges assumptions about prehistoric humans. It shows that even 8,000 years ago, people were engaging in abstract thought, symbolic reasoning, and complex social practices. They were capable of empathy, ritualized mourning, and spiritual reflection, using animals not only as food or companions, but as conduits for meaning. In essence, the Kvarlov burial is a rare window into a world where humans and wolves were negotiating boundaries, the wild and the tame, life and death, protection and danger. It is both a scientific curiosity and a testament to the emotional and cultural depth of our ancestors. The burial of a baby with a wolf challenges everything we think we know about prehistoric life. It shows a moment of profound intentionality, a small human life intertwined with the power of a wild predator, carefully orchestrated thousands of years ago. Archaeologists, anthropologists, and geneticists alike see in this grave the earliest hints of human empathy, ritual, and symbolic thought. The wolf, fierce and wild in life, becomes a guardian in death, a protector for the most vulnerable among us. This extraordinary act also sheds light on the roots of the bond between humans and canines. While this wolf was never domesticated, its presence foreshadowed the relationships that would eventually lead to dogs becoming companions, protectors, and partners to humans for millennia. In the end, the Kvarlov burial is more than a scientific discovery. It is a reminder that even 8,000 years ago, humans sought connection, protection, and meaning beyond the tangible world. A child, a wolf, and the careful hands of a community speak across time, bridging millennia to show us the depth of early human emotion, imagination, and ritual. From this small grave in southern Sweden, we glimpse the enduring human need to connect with each other, with the natural world, and with the mysteries that lie beyond life itself.